Myself, DK, Assistant Professor, Department of AI&ML, Knowledge Institute of Technology. The subject we discussed today, Computer Networks, BCS502. Today we discussed about our first experiment in computer networks. We implement 3 nodes point-to-point network with duplex links between them. Set the queue size, vary the bandwidth, and find the number of packets dropped. Okay, we check about the number of packets will be dropped in point-to-point network. Okay, the program, they create the simulator object, creates an NS2 simulator instance called NS. Open the trace file for logging simulation data, lab1.tr. Okay, lab1.tr will be recorded detailed packet trace information. Okay, next lab1.nam will record data for NAM, network animator visualization, for using NAM file. Define procedure, finish, stop the simulation, flushes trace data, and opens the NAM visualization. Okay, and closes the trace files, exits the simulation cleanly. Create the network nodes called as N0, N1, N2, and N3. Create the 4 nodes called as N0, N1, N2, and N3. Next, we set the colors data flow and labels for nodes. Color flows for visualization, label nodes for clarity in NAM. Create the duplex links between the nodes, links between N0 and N2, and N1 and N2, N2 and N3. The links between the duplex links. Okay. First link will be N0 to N2, second links will be N1 to N2, N2 to N3. Okay, which specified speed. The first 2 links are 100 Mbps with 300 Mbps delay. The third link is 1 Mbps with 300 milliseconds delay. All use drop trail queue management. Drop trail using the queue management. Okay. Set the queue size limit on the links. Limit the buffer size for each link. Limit the buffer size and each link. Smaller buffer on the last link. Likely simulation conjunction. Okay. Set up the UDP. Set up the UDP agents and attach to nodes. Create the UDP agent 0 and attach the node N0. Okay. Create the CBR, constant bit rate, traffic attached to UDP agent. CBR traffic generates packets of size 500 bytes every 0.005 seconds. It creates the 500 packet size. Similarly, for UDP1 at node 1, class 2 differentiates traffic class or priority. Create null agent to attach the N3 node 3. Null agent receives the packet but does nothing with them. Connect the UDP sources to null sync. Make the data flow from UDP0 and UDP1 agent to the sync null 0. Next, schedule the start and stop time for the CBR traffic. Start flow from UDP0 at 0.5 seconds and start the flow from UDP1 at 1.0 schedule the simulation to finish. Call the finish procedure at 5 seconds. Run the simulation. Start the event driven simulation. This is our count the number of packets will be dropped in our simulation. Okay, this is your simple output of this program. This is source node, this is the destination node. The source node will be send the package through router and it going through UDP1, and UDP1 is goes to router and the packets will be reaching destination. The number of packets will be dropped here. Okay, this simple output for our program. The number of packets will be dropped in this program 403. Okay, thank you.